Another episode of Cady's Corner ready to roll here, presented by Godzilla Media and sponsored by our good friends over at SeatGeek, where this summer, if you're looking to buy tickets to your favorite band, sports team, venue, or anything else, you can go to SeatGeek. And if you buy tickets for more than $50, use the promo code GOZ, that's GOZ, get $20 off your purchase. Again, any ticket purchase, $50 or more at SeatGeek.com. Use the promo code GOZ, get $20 off your order so you can save money and enjoy the summer because you know damn well the gas prices ain't helping you right now. So SeatGeek.com, any ticket purchase over $50, use the promo code GOZ, G-O-Z, and get yourself $20 off your ticket order. And if you're on the visual side, you already can tell that we have a guest to kick things off for the usual weekly Mohawk Minute we've been getting into for the last few weeks or so. We've had the assistant GM Megan Stopwith on. We've had Matt Zoombalo, the social media intern, on here. We've had the online play-by-play broadcaster Ian Nicholas on as well. And now we get to the true star of stars, the hardest person to get. It is the head athletic trainer for the Amsterdam Mohawks and the brand new head athletic trainer for Amsterdam High School athletics. Damn right.
That's
Carla
right.
Pasquarelli, what's going on?
Not much. How are you?
Good, good. We just came off yeah a, a little bit of a weird loss last night, but hey, the team can bounce back. It's not a big deal.
Oh yeah, they'll bounce back.
Yeah, we're good. So let's just start off right from the rip. Let's go back to your time at Amsterdam. As you were going through the motions in high school and getting ready to figure things out, going forward. Did you know athletic training or something to do with sports was going to be your calling, or is that just something that kind of evolved along the way?
It kind of evolved along the way. Um, Originally, I was going to do psychology, which I mean, the brain interests me, so that's a you know a big thing. And then I found out that they had this thing called athletic training where you could combine sports and medicine. I was like, this is cool. This sounds like fun. And then here we are, almost 20 years later, and we're living this kind of surreal dream right now.
I was going to say, don't age yourself by saying almost 20 years. Don't age yourself at all. That's okay. We're 2 years apart. It's not a big deal.
No,
Um, so, so I'm assuming you played sports then when you were at Amsterdam.
I
What were
did.
you?
I
What,
played softball. I was 4 years softball, 2 years cross country. Outside of school, I bowled and played a little bit of basketball, but softball was my main sport.
what position were you in softball?
I was kind of the utility player, pinch runner, middle infield, outfield, wherever they needed me.
A Jill of all trades. That's what we like to see.
Yeah. So I just, it got me in the lineup, and that's kind of what I try and instill in the kids today. Make yourself, more useful to your coaches by being able to play more than one position, no matter what sport you play, because it's going to give you a greater opportunity to get on the field. Seeing these kids, they don't think I know what I'm talking about, but
I was gonna say, so you probably have a soft spot for the kids that you come across, or even the college guys on the Mohawks, the guys that can play, a little infield, a little outfield, do a little bit of everything, maybe even a switch hitter. Whoa, whoa,
yeah,
whoa.
yeah.
Um, I it probably has a little bit of a soft spot in your heart, doesn't it?
It does, especially the kids who, are willing to move to a different position, or, try something new that's totally out of the box for them. The coachable kids, those are the kids you like to see and you like to work with because, going forward, they're going to be pretty productive later in life, having that ability to, kind of just think on the fly and be able to do a little bit of everything.
Now, when you were considering the college you're going to go to, getting out of Amsterdam, was psychology still the main thing you were thinking of, or by then had you already learned about athletic training and started looking at schools from that perspective?
By then, I found out about athletic training, and I was like, this sounds cool. And then, playing softball was a huge thing for me too. I only looked at three schools, and that was Cortland, Castleton, and Russell Sage. Um, Castleton told me I was too short, or no, Cortland told me I was too short to play softball because softball has a height requirement.
Must be this
uh,
high to swing a bat. I mean, come on.
yeah, yeah. Castleton, it was a nice campus. It was just very far off the beaten path, and then Sage, I kind of fell in love with small school, and I did like a little. They'd had like a little athletic training camp, like one day thing that I did, and I kind of just fell in love with it. And I knew the coach at the time. He didn't stay, but I knew the coach at the time, and it kind of just all fit, you know, like it was meant to be.
It's funny because either you told me before that you went to Sage and I just am completely forgetting about it today, or I really had no idea you went to Sage until this conversation. Because I'm pretty sure we talked about this because I've done announcing at Sage before.
Right? Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, wow, I'm an idiot. Okay. Anyways, so you end up going to Russell Sage. Um, so were you there? I'm trying to think of when, because they never officially technically merged the colleges until the last couple of years.
yeah.
You
When
were
I
still
was there,
it was still
we
Russell
only had five
Sage.
sports.
You only had what?
Fi-
5 sports.
5 sports: girls
Wow.
tennis, volleyball, girls basketball, softball, soccer. That's all we had.
Alrighty then. Um,
Yeah, weren't even in a conference.
really?
Nope.
Completely independent. Were you even D3 at that point?
We were D3, but we were just independent.
Just kind of roaming around,
Yeah, yeah, living
floating.
living a life,
Wow. It's amazing how things change in 10, 15 years.
right?
Um, so like was that at all I don't know if this is really a valid question or not, but I'll just ask it anyways. Knowing that you technically were going to a college that was like two separate campuses that like were considered separate colleges but weren't really separate colleges. Did like as a student was that like weird at all or just something where you're like, whatever.
Yeah, I
It is what it
mean, like I knew there was an Albany campus, but you know, I was on the Troy campus, and you're in the little brownstones and all that stuff, and there's so much tradition behind the Russell Sage campus where I'm not sure if there's that they have that tradition kind of at the Albany campus where you know the Troy campus they had the colors, the mascots, the rally week and all that stuff. And I don't know if they quite had that at the Albany campus, but I knew they had it at the Troy campus.
So you come out of Sage. Obviously, you get your degree and everything, all that jazz. And so where did you end up landing on your feet coming out of Sage?
Actually, at the time, I did a camp at Siena over the summer because he was just looking for people, and my friend had gotten a job at Siena. So I did camps over the summer, but my grandfather had had a stroke years prior. So my aunt and uncle were kind of taking care of him. And so I would work at the family business. And I did that for like 2 years while doing like different per diem gigs until St. Mary's and Memorial merged.
Mhm.
And then they, had these openings for per diem positions. So I applied and um, got the job. And, they were happy that I was able to give so many hours as I could because I was able to say like to my family, like, hey, I have this opportunity to go work this game. And they knew that's where I was going to land, on my feet doing this. This is what I went to school with. This is what I love, as opposed to answering phones and sending bills out.
Couple things coming out of that. Number one, what's the family business that I didn't know about here?
Lose electric, lose heating and air conditioning.
Quick shout out to Luz. There we go. All right, all
Yep,
right. See, hey,
yep.
hey, free plugs. I'm all about it.
There you
Please, I
go.
used to be in radio. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, no, my
Um,
grandfather started that business. It's probably almost 70 years now.
wow, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
see, anytime I can hear about a family-run business that lasts that long and is still finding a way to survive and even thrive, Hell yeah, I'll give you all the cheap plugs I want. I don't care. Um, so you mentioned real quick the camp. I'm assuming what was that Dashnaw? Was that Greg that was running it, or was that someone?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Hammer.
I think I was his. I think his birthday was this week too. That's crazy. That's
Yep.
great.
Yep.
How long has he been there? Feels like
Forever.
forever. Yeah,
Forever.
exactly, exactly. We'll just say forever, and we'll just count that as an official timeline.
Right.
Yeah. Um. So basically, you've been linked at the hip to the city of Amsterdam as far as being an athletic trainer for what fifth? No, about 13, 14 years now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a wild ride.
So is that how your relationship started with Amsterdam? Was by working with St. Mary's and working on a per diem basis with them? And what other places did you end up, working with in your time with St. Mary's?
Um, when I first started, there was Amsterdam, Broad Alban, Gloversville, Johnstown, Mayfield, FMCC. That's all we had. And at the time, the contract with Amsterdam was varsity football, home and away, varsity girls boys basketball, home, and then select, like, I think it's 10 lacrosse games, 6 baseball games, 4 softball games. That was it.
So here's what's amazing. You just named off six schools like it's nothing. In the back of my mind, I'm like I do announcing. I don't think I could ever commit to more than like two. You basically indirectly committed yourself to a half dozen schools, including a community college. Like, the hell is
Right.
wrong? What the hell is wrong with you? Um, you just decide, you know what? I'm going to dive in head first and have no life. That's basically where I'm at.
Yeah. I mean, back then our contracts weren't even close to where they are now. Um, and, yeah, I've gained more schools in the process over the last 13 years, but I've also gained staff members too. So that was a huge, you know, piece of the puzzle.
Right. Then to the point where, because I remember, um, so let's try to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Um, so I grew up in Albany, lived there all my life. Then I moved out here in 2016 with my now wife, and um, so we get basically there's maybe a by proxy, or 2017, excuse me, by proxy it basically turned me into an Amsterdam fan.
Yeah.
So, and then eventually I started working with the Mohawks. That's where I'm pretty sure that's where we met officially,
Yes.
was when I started with the Mohawks in
Yep.
2019. Um, but like then I get to see you around town. I'm like, oh, I know her, yeah. Because like now, because like you've been doing stuff with, you also done stuff with the state high school championships all
Yep.
around. Like, I know you did the best. You helped out with the sectionals. I think you also helped out with states this year too at Hudson Valley, didn't you?
Yep. Yep.
Yes. It's like you get around town. It's not just like you're committed to schools. You're also helping out like Section Two, the state
Right.
high school athletic association. You're a busy woman.
Yeah. I know some people. I know some people, and that's important to have those connections. But it gives me opportunity to work with different schools and different teams and different sports and at different levels too.
So before we get into the recent news of everything that's been going on with you, let's stay with the progress we've been making. You ended up joining the Mohawks. What was it, about a decade ago, like 2011, I think it is.
It's
Correct.
2011, the first year in the PGCBL.
Okay. Um, how did you end up finding out about this potential gig for you, and how'd that all work out?
It started off with a partnership with the hospital. The PR department came to us and said we had this opportunity. Is this something you guys would be interested in? And I mean, I played softball, so baseball, it's very near and dear to my heart. So I said, heck yeah, like sign me up. My coworker wasn't a big fan of baseball at the time, so I was like, it's fine, I'll do it. Like, I'll do the games, not a problem. Jumped right in and met Coach Griff. First meeting with him, I was like, I don't understand a word this man says. And here we are 12 years later, and him and I just give each other a look. we know exactly what we're talking about.
So you got to a point where you understand Griffinese.
I do. We have our
Oh,
own language now.
oh, you have your own language now. Wow.
Yeah.
But the language is it's a language of staring, though. It sounds like.
It pretty much is staring, but then we have some choice phrases that we use on each other, and
Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine.
we've gotten pretty close over the past 12 years, and we've decided that when it's time to go, we're going out together. We're going out together.
Well, I mean, and that's it. It's interesting you bring that up because I feel like if people don't see the product, I don't think they completely understand the connection that's built there, both within the team and the coaching staff as well as the community.
Right.
And I don't think that just goes for Amsterdam. I think that goes for a lot of the different teams within the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League. But specifically with Amsterdam, like there's people who've been going to these games since the Mohawks moved into Amsterdam before they
Right.
were even in the PGCBL. I mean, there's people going to those games for like 20 plus years, and like you learn their stories, and it's like what it's almost kind of like you stepped into another world a little bit there.
Right. It's like
Oh,
you turn the clock to the end of May, and it's like, you know, oh hey, you see everybody you've seen for 12 years, and it's like a second family.
now Griff is an animal of his own sort. Um, he's 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 very interesting. I'll put it that way. Um, did you and Griff just because I don't know? He just seems like the Griff almost seems like the kind of guy where you have to prove yourself worthy of his attention. Um, like did you and Coach hit it off right away, or was it kind of like well, we'll see what you're really like, kid, kind of thing?
Yeah. I remember the first game it was a home game, and Mark Leiter was pitching, and he's a super competitive kid. I say kid, because they're always kids to me. Super competitive, and coach took him out after like 5 innings, and he's super mad that he got taken out. And he comes in, he throws his glove, and he's like, "Can I have ice?" And at that point, the ice was kind of melted, so I go to put it on, and he's kind of angry, upset, moving around, and I'm trying to wrap it on, and he looks at me and he goes, "What is this your first time doing this? You ever done this before?" And I was like, uh, uh, at this point, the age difference between me and the guys was very small at that point. I'm like, I'm like, what did I just get myself into? um, but after that, Mark apologized, and we became super close. And I learned stuff from these guys as much as they learned from me. And I remember Griff coming to the end of the dugout. He walked out. I think he's, doing his rounds out the dugout. He's like, he said something to me. I think it was something along the lines of, if you're going to last in this business, you got to get tough. And I think it was probably maybe about a year and a half later. He took a foul ball off a light pole. He was coaching third. He's in Albany. The ball came off a light pole, hit him in the head. And whoever the athletic trainer was, he said he checked him out, but he didn't trust him. He said, "I'm coming to you because she didn't do anything." She, he goes, "So I'm coming to you. You're gonna tell me what's wrong. Do I have a concussion or not?" And I think since then, like, he's come to come to like me, and like I said, we have a really good relationship, and he'll tell the guys here, like, you're not going to find anybody else who's going to treat you as well as she is. She knows what she's doing, and you know, I love him because he always thinks, I could go on to bigger and better things. Like, he's even reached out a couple times to say we have openings at these D1 colleges where his buddies coach, and I'm very thankful for the offer, but this has always been home, and where I am now is it's special. So
You've endeared yourself to him.
yeah,
It's adorable. I love it.
yeah,
Now, just by the way, real quick to rewind to the Mark Leiter part of the story. So, just so everyone gets an idea. So Mark, if he was playing the league, that means he was probably somewhere between 19, 20, 21 years old. At that time, hold on, let me do the math. So 2011 was your first season. So
Yep.
7, okay, the 3 divided by 2. You were like 25,
Yeah.
26, roughly.
Yeah.
Just to give you the actual mathematics behind how small the age gap was, yeah, it's basically like having your own brother, your own little brother at that point, being like, uh, what the hell? Like,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, I could see how that would have been a little bit weird and awkward, but now you're at a point where you're like, shut the hell up, just deal with it, basically.
Yeah, now I'm at the point where I was just like, this is how it's gonna be. And it's so funny because I took one of my high schoolers with me the other day to Auburn because he wants to be an athletic trainer. And when we left Amsterdam, it was like 62 and raining. And I said to him, make sure you bring a sweatshirt. And we get off the bus in Auburn, it's 87. The humidity just hits you in the face as you walk off the bus. And he looks at me and he goes, bring a sweatshirt, huh? And coach just looks at him, and coach not knowing the relationship that me and this kid have, where he just kind of busts on me and I bust on him. Coach turns to him and says, if she tells you to bring a sweatshirt, you bring a sweatshirt. If she tells you to bring a damn umbrella, you bring a damn umbrella. My point is, you just do whatever the hell she tells you to do, and you'll be fine.
God, I love him. He's great.
Yeah.
Uh, but we're not going to break down the weather because I know what the weather's been like the last few days. I'm not going to get into that. But basically, kid, just listen to her. It's okay.
Yeah, that's basically what he says.
All right. So to wrap things up, let's get right to the nitty gritty of what's been going on. A couple things for you. Number one, after a long, arduous road, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna assume it was what, like the board of trustees for the Greater Amsterdam School District is what I'm assuming. Is that what
Board
they're
of Ed,
called?
yeah. The
Board of
Board of
Ed.
Education.
Close enough. Board of Trustees, Board
Yeah.
of Education, close
Yeah.
enough. So the Board of Education for the Greater Amsterdam School District, that's exactly what it's called, GASD.
Yeah.
For those of you who didn't know, benefits of living out here for 5 years. Um, they finally voted to create an official head athletic trainer position for the high school. And guess who got it? So I know I've already said it to you, but congratulations.
Thank you.
Um, but just talk to it because, like, again, you're going through a whole per diem phase with St. Mary's. You're going to games with this, that, and the other one. Um, how does it feel to finally have an official position within the high school that you're an alum of? You're
Right.
you're a class of '03 alum, so that's always awesome too.
Yep.
And then I guess the other part of it is, where does your relationship stand with St. Mary's now going forward, considering the position you just accepted?
So at St. Mary's, I'm staying on per diem to still be able to work with the Mohawks because I love baseball, and again I love coach, and just such a great relationship. And obviously Brian does a fantastic job of getting all the guys together, and we have a great staff. I mean, you go to these other teams and you're just like, yeah, you got it made here. You got it made here in Amsterdam with the
Eh,
Mohawks.
Brian and the staff, we're okay.
Um, but like to finally get this position here at Amsterdam, which again, I started here in '09 as per diem, got the full time position at St. Mary's in spring of 2010. And my first official full season with the school was 2010, 2011. And, it's just been kind of like a whirlwind. Back then, I wasn't around as much as I am now. And we always joke, I could go with the kids. I'm like, you have no idea how lucky you are right now. Because, back when I first started, like, the Nick Carbones, or no, it's Chris Carbone, Nick's little brother, Chris Carbone and Robbie Sherlock and Nick Laverio, and those guys. I was around and we had a good relationship. Robbie would always call me his big sister, and he would be my little brother because we just that's the kind of relationship I had with those kids, and they knew I was taking care of them, and there was that trust that was built right away. And going forward with all the other different teams that we work with, obviously with Eric Dumler, when I first started here, his basketball tournament was 4 teams. It's 4 teams, and we just get the schedule last night for Christmas break next year, and we're living here. We're going 9 a.m. to probably 11 at night.
Don't get me started. I'm just
I was
kidding.
like,
I
this
love
man
Eric.
is trying to kill me. He's
Yeah,
trying to kill me.
I love Eric, but I saw that schedule last night. I was like, wow. I was talking to our good friend Randy actually last night when because he saw me share the schedule as well, and I was like, boy, you better eat your Wheaties both mornings because those are gonna be some long. Like if you thought states were long days, you ain't got that ain't got shit on this. Is
Yeah,
those are gonna be 2 long days, my friend.
right.
So yeah, but hey, listen, I can't complain because um listen, I love Barry. Okay, I love Barry Rouse, who, I mean, he's a gem for the Mohawks,
Yeah,
and I know he's figured it in Amsterdam. But I'm not gonna lie, for a few years there, where I started doing states, and I would see Eric Doomer show up all the time, and I knew who Eric was. I wasn't completely stupid, but I would look like, kind of like, hey, if you ever need anyone, just drop in subtle hints,
right.
just to let them know, hey, I live in Amsterdam now. Hey, I'm 5 minutes from the school. Um, so when I got around and he asked me about doing the holiday showcase for the first time this past winter, needless to say, I was a little geeked, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
But now, and now he tagged me in when he released the schedule.
I know, right?
I was like, "Ooh, okay. I guess that's my way of saying I'm booked. Okay, good."
Yeah. You know you've
Um,
made it when he tags you in his Facebook posts and he gives you a nickname.
I haven't gotten the nickname yet.
Yeah, I got a nickname.
Oh, do I want to know what the nickname is?
It's not for a while. I didn't. I just thought he didn't know. Like he just
Didn't
kept
know your
calling me
name.
Cece. He's like, "Yo, Cece. Hey, Cece," and I'm like, he goes, "Do you know why I call you that?" No, I don't. And he's like, "Concussion Carla," because that was the time when like the concussion push with all the legislation and the education and the return to play protocols came out, and I was very on top of it. So he called me Cece, and then it took on its own spin this year with COVID. So now it's COVID, Carla. We just go by Cece.
I was gonna say you're not Sierra Goodson, so I don't get the CC, and now you explained it. So
Yep,
okay,
yep, yep.
all right. Shout out Sierra. Glad you're going to Copelskill. So the last thing I want to bring up was something I just learned about yesterday. I didn't even know this was a thing. Um, Can you explain this National Trainer Award thing that you got like nominated for? Because I never knew there was such a thing, but again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Um, like, what is this? Where did it come from? How did it happen?
So March is National Athletic Trainers Month,
Correct, I
and
knew
I
that.
and I got an email from this company for helmet sensors for football, lacrosse, hockey helmets that measures like different head impacts and everything. So I work very closely with my football coach, all my football coaches, but most definitely our head football coach John Homage. And I said, I showed him the email and it said, hey, nominate your athletic. You could nominate yourself if you wanted to, or you know one of your coaches could. So I sent it to him, and he's like, this would be really good for our program and everything. And we didn't hear anything until probably about the end of last month, and he came to me and he said, I just got a voicemail from USA Football, like they want to talk to me. And I'm like, okay. And so he was playing phone tag with him, and then he finally gets a hold of the guy. He comes down here to my office after school, and he's like, hey, he goes, they they want to talk to us, like they were super impressed with the relationship that you and I have and everything that you've done as far as concussion protocols and education, return to play, return to learn, all that. And he got another phone call probably about 2 weeks ago that said we were one of the top two finalists in the country. We're not just talking about the state, we're talking about the country. And you think about football down south in like Texas and Alabama, and you go, we live in upstate New York. And so we were very happy that we made it that far. And so last Tuesday before the Mohawks game, we did a video interview, and they wanted to meet us and hear about our relationship, our program, everything that I do as far as head injuries go. And we finished the interview, and him and I just looked at each other and went, I think that went really well. Like, we gave them information, and they said, listen to what you guys talk about. You are so far ahead of what a lot of schools are doing, and the fact that they couldn't get over the fact that John and I actually get along. Apparently, football coach and athletic trainer are not supposed to get along. I've never had that issue here in Amsterdam, whether it was Pat, whether it was Doug, or John. I guess I'm really lucky. But they were super impressed with the education that we give to our teachers and our staff about return to learn, and these are things you need to look out for when we're dealing with concussions from, a scholastic setting. And then we have the return to play when they do get cleared from their doctor, the education I give to the doctors, and we do impact testing, we do the scat testing. We just don't, we pull them out of practice if we think, they took a big hit to the head and we want to evaluate them. I mean, anything that happens, he calls me right away. And, they were blown away by the fact that both John and I are products of Amsterdam. Like that, we just saw their eyes pop when we said that, because it means something to us, and we try and instill that in the kids. And not that any team isn't, but the football team, especially everything we've gone through the past 2 years, that's a huge family, and it's being the only female on the staff, obviously. So I'm kind of like the mom of the group, um, but we get along so well. And we got the phone call yesterday, right before lunch, that they were picking us. I said that to somebody yesterday, when Connor, our buddy flipping the burgers there so well down there at the Mohawks, he went over to Deanna Palzak to share the news, and she said, if it's athletic trainer award, why are you saying we? I said, because I didn't get here alone. There's so many people who have been behind me and helping me, and we do everything as a team, and we do everything together. So, you know, it's the kids, it's the coaches, it's the staff, it's everybody. So while I'm honored to be the recipient of the award, our kids are the ones that are going to benefit. And talking to these people, athletic intelligence, we can build the sensors and the data into our educational program. So it's kind of a win-win all around for everybody, for me, for the kids, for the coaches, for the district. So we're really excited, really excited.
Talk about diving in head first once you got hired.
I
Jeez, unbelievable. Um, yeah, that's absolutely crazy. I had no idea about the whole process that went into it. So congratulations on that one.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, I mean, damn. Okay. Um, so yeah, that's all I got for you. It's been great to have you on.
Yeah,
Um, it's not often I get to befriend athletic trainers, but obviously you're one of a kind from what I've been able to decipher here in Amsterdam. So
yeah.
I
It's
really
all about the
appreciate,
kids.
yeah, I really appreciate you coming on. Um, thank you for being a guest here on the show, and I'll catch you sometime next week.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, not a problem. So Carla Pasquarelli, head trainer for the Amsterdam Mohawks, and the new head athletic trainer for Amsterdam High School. And little inside baseball, Carla. If you want, you can leave the studio if you want. You don't have to stay. Because this is going to get into some Major League Baseball. But before we do, just want to tell you about our friends over at Mohawk Honda. Oh yeah, things are a little interesting with car inventory at this point. As my phone decides to go off, that's nice. Um, Way to mute it, Brian. The team can find what you're looking for at Mohawk Honda by not just searching their lot, but they can even search up and down the Eastern Seaboard for you. Because right now is a true opportunity to either sell or trade in your vehicle, because it really is a market for the customer at this point, as right now the supply chain is still facing challenges after COVID and with the current economy, which creates a selling opportunity for you as Mohawk Honda buys cars, and in some cases you may even be able to sell it for more than you paid for it. That's right. So you can go over and see our friend Cars with Kern Svoboda, our dude Luis, the VIP man Morales. Say Mac, our man, let's do a deal. Yeah, Cam McKenna. Or just go right to the main man. Go right from the horse's mouth. Go talk to GM Greg Johnson. Because the Mohawk Honda on Freeman's Bridge Road, Scotia, they want to buy your car. And of course, they always go out of their way to please you. That all being said, let's just dive right in quick to all three Major League Baseball teams, starting with the Red Sox. They keep on doing enough to stay around and stay involved and be in the conversation for a playoff spot down the road. Yes, it's late June, but hey, you gotta put yourself in position in order to win the position, right? So right now, Toronto's still number one, the wild card, but the Red Sox are right there, a half game behind at 39-31 as the second wild card team. And then that puts them a game ahead of Minnesota, who's 38-32. And then that puts them about 4.5 games, I believe it is, in front of the White Sox, who are 33-34. And then you have the Angels and the Rangers not too far behind that. So Red Sox are in a good spot right now. Have a little flexibility, a lot of time left. Um, just gotta, make sure they keep on producing at the level they have been recently. And right now, the Red Sox, they are just doing what they have to do, and they are moving forward as they have been taking on the Tigers this week. They wound up taking on, let's see, they took the finale against Oakland last weekend. Excuse me, they wound up dropping the finale at Fenway, and then they took 2 out of 3 from St. Louis, just swept three from Detroit. Today, a day off, which is nice because I believe it's their first day off since last Monday. Yeah, Monday the 13th was their last day off. So the first day off in about 10 days is today. Now they're going to go to Cleveland for 3 before visiting Toronto and the Chicago Cubs with a day off next Thursday mixed into that 9 game road stretch. Uh, Now, before we get into the New York baseball, New York Yankees baseball, excuse me, I just want to remind you that, hey, this New York baseball segment brought to you by our friends over at Johnstone Supply. Yeah, they are back in the mix with us here at Godzilla Media. Summer is here. You can feel the heat in upstate New York. Damn right you can. And now, if you want to stay cool all summer long indoors, give a call to Johnstone Supply in Troy. Ask the team about their high efficiency central AC systems or ductless mini splits. Whether it's Goodman, Fujitsu, or Westinghouse, they have it all in stock and at great affordable prices for you. Or if you need help from someone to help install the new system, you can give a call to Johnstone Supply in Troy or go visit them right there at 2600 6th Avenue in Troy. Talk to Tom, Kev, James, Bird, any of them. They'll be able to put you in a cooler spot for the rest of the summer to stay cool all summer long. Give them a call, 518-272-5922, or like I mentioned, stop by 2600 6th Avenue in Troy. Again, 518-272-5922, or check out johnstonsupply.com. As for the New York Metropolitans, again, they just keep on keeping on. They just, I don't know. They just make things work in the way it is. They're 45-26. Yeah, the Braves have gotten hot over the last month and now have cut the deficit down to 4.5 games. The Phillies are still hanging around. They're 8.5 out, but the Mets are still 45-26. Quality place to be. They're not making a whole lot of mistakes, really. It's just the injury bug that's been kicking them in the rear end right now. They have a ton of injuries they're trying to work through, and we'll touch on that in just a moment. But scheduling wise, just taking a look at this, they were able to take out Milwaukee to end up taking 2 out of 3 from them last Thursday. Then they took 3 out of 4 at home against Miami. They did lose the short 2 game series in Houston these last couple of days, but now they get a day off. They get to relax. Their first day off, just like Boston. Today is their first day off since last Monday, the 13th. So now they get a chance to chill before having a 3 game set at Miami, the team they just took 3 out of 4 from at City Field. And then they'll come home for another short 2 game series against Houston next Tuesday, Wednesday, the 20th and 29th, before a 4th of July weekend series against the Rangers at City Field. As far as the injury front is concerned, Tyler McGill did leave last Thursday's start with shoulder discomfort. They're talking 4 to 6 weeks minimum. Just not a good spot for them right now. Not a good spot. But again, you just gotta, you know, just take things as they are for the time being. So right now, you're looking at Bassett, Carrasco, Taiwan Walker, and then the rest of your basically looking at Peterson and Trevor Williams essentially as your starters right now. But on the good side, Max Scherzer did have a rehab start at Binghamton this past Tuesday. Went for about 65 pitches. He went about almost 4 innings, I believe. Two-thirds of his pitches were strikes, did allow a home run, but overall, from everything I heard, both from our friend of Godzilla Media, Ashley Miller, who's co-host of the M&M Across the Board show, as well as a good friend of mine, Chris, who was at the game personally. They said Scherzer looked really good. Didn't wasn't really putting in too much of a struggle at all. Had 6 Ks in the midst of the 65 pitches or so they threw. Did give up 1 home run, but all in all, he seemed to look good. James McCann, also another person, the catcher for the Mets on rehab. He also was playing in that game in Binghamton the other night, also looking really good. So it sounds like they're either going to do one more rehab start in Binghamton for Scherzer, or they'll bring him right back up pretty soon, maybe even for as soon as this weekend in Miami, or or like I mentioned, the other rehab start. As far as McCann, I think you can see McCann getting activated sometime by early next week. The way things are looking right now, and they could use him because Nito, he's only going to do so much for you in the lineup offensively. So, and Plummer's obviously cooled off since his hot start when he first came up. So McCann would be a nice addition back into the lineup, even though Canha's still producing well. McNeil's still batting almost 330. But again, it'd be nice to have McCann back there and things get somewhat back to normal, or at least fully normal for the Mets lineup while they still have Jankowski out. But I mean, otherwise, things look okay. Oh, and one last thing for the Mets: Jacob Degrom faced lab batters for the first time this past Tuesday as well. Um, no word yet on what he's going to do next. Whether it's going to be another bullpen session, but it does look like he's going to be going to Binghamton anytime soon. But they are still aiming for sometime around the All Star break, maybe just after for him to come back. Then finally, we get to the Yankees. A lot of different stuff there. Loizaga threw it 120 feet the other day. We're talking about him changing his routines as far as the way he preps for a workout or pitching, and then the way he rehabs essentially off of that, off those efforts. So they're changing the routine to see if that helps at all with the way his shoulder heals after throwing. Zach Britton threw his first bullpen on Tuesday. They're saying he's not going to be back anytime soon per se, but at least he's throwing a bullpen, so that's a step in the right direction. Also on Tuesday, Roldis Chapman threw 25 pitches to live hitters, and he's awaiting a rehab assignment to probably the Somerset Patriots more than likely. Domingo Herman is expected to make a rehab appearance this weekend at some point. And that's a lot of injuries on the pitching front, but things are moving forward for at least a few of those guys. My guess, Loizaga probably, I'd say, I know this sounds like a long time, but it's only a month really. I'd say Loizaga probably gets back by the trade deadline. Chapman within the next couple weeks, probably around the All Star break, maybe just after. I would also say the same about Herman. Herman might even be like the week leading up to the All Star break. Um, but again, it's a wait and see thing. Um, the two tremendous positives, I should say, aside from Aaron Judge on the hitting side, the two tremendous positives recently have been Anthony Rizzo and Aaron Hicks. So now it gets to a point where does one tremendous month of Aaron Hicks cancel out 2 years and 2 months of questionable performance and being injury prone? I don't know. I think it does for the time being. It might have bought him an extra year in the Bronx for the time being. We'll see. I I don't know. I'm a little indifferent right now. So at this point, I think Aaron Hicks has officially taken himself off potentially being a trade piece for improving a spot in the roster. Do I think he's completely safe? No. But I think for the time being, it's at least safe for now. Mets, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned their schedule. Just to rewind real quick. Actually, yeah, I did. I'm sorry. Yankees though, 51 and 18, 12 clear of Toronto, 12 and a half clear of Boston. I mean, what more can you say? Um, I mean, there really isn't more you can say. Um, Fewest games to 50 wins, by the way. It took the Yankees 67 games to get there. They were 50 and 17 going into Tuesday when they lost to Tampa Bay. The two other Yankees teams to get to 50 wins in the same number of games or fewer. The 1928 Yankees, who needed 66 games to get to 50 wins. The 1998 Yankees needed the same number, 67, to get to 50 wins. Three. There were three Yankees teams. I'm sorry. And then the 1939 Yankees needed 64 wins. Or 64 games to get to 50 wins. All three of those Yankee teams in the past went on to win the World Series. So I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Let's just put that out there for perspective. Um, as far as the Yankees schedule is concerned, going into the weekend and beyond, the Yankees did just finish up in Tampa Bay last night with a 5-4 victory as Schmidt got the win, Clay Holmes got the save. Um, they now start a 4-game set tonight in Houston. Night games tonight and Friday. 1 and 1:30 starts Saturday, Sunday. That's going to be at the stadium down in the Bronx. And then they turn around and host Oakland Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday before flying out for a random single game in Houston next Thursday, a 6:10 kind of matinee-ish start. And then they'll be on the road at Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Boston after that to go through the 4th of July weekend. So an interesting schedule. But like I mentioned before, they're in the midst of 20 games in 20 days. They're not going to have another day off until 4th of July, Monday, July 4th. So um, it's a grind right now, like I mentioned. This is going to be hard work for them. 20 games in 20 days. That started with the Tampa series in Yankee Stadium last Tuesday. It goes all the way through July 4th. So they gotta grit and grind. Basically, that's all they can do at this point. But again, you have the cushion of 12 to 12, 12 and a half games in the AL East. You can afford a loss here and there. But at the same time, they're they just keep on rolling. No matter what lineup they put out there, they just keep on producing. Taking 2 out of 3 at Tampa, 2 out of 3 in Toronto, 3-game sweep of Tampa at home. It's amazing. Like there's no way for me to explain it. They just keep on producing at an elite level, and uh, I'm not one to complain. Real quick before we get out of here, just want to remind you, our friends over at the Albany Empire, they are rocking and rolling the MVP Arena in downtown Albany this Sunday, back at home. They are going to be facing, I believe it's the Columbus Lions, if I remember correctly. Bear with me for a second. Yes, the Columbus Lions, a 2 p.m. kickoff this Sunday at MVP Arena. You can check out your tickets at albanyempire.nal.com or give it a call, the 714-2200, extension 101. And yes, that's a 518 area code. And I'm sure Gaz will be there doing the pregame show if you want to go check that out as well while he's on the air with the Godzilla Media various channels of social media. That being said, that wraps up episode 12 of Cady's Corner, presented by Godzilla Media, sponsored by our friends Mohawk Honda, Johnstone Supply, SeatGeek.com, and our friends over at the Albany Empire. Thanks again to Carla Pasquarelli for joining the show. Talk about the Mohawks, the Amsterdam High School position she just got, and really just overall what it's like to be a head athletic trainer and all that jazz. That being said, enjoy a great week of baseball. We'll catch you next week for episode 13. Until then, enjoy the time in the